Hey everyone, Smash Summit 2 just recently released a bracket. Now this may be tentative based on last minute changes, so I expect some things may change here. Now if we were to look here, the round 1 brackets are posted on the overlay. We have Armada versus ESAM, Axe versus Shroomed, Plop versus PPU, and Mutaking versus Ice in the top half of the bracket, Hungrybox versus S2J, Wobbles and SFAT, Mango and Duck, and then Westballz and SamWolf in the bottom half. So I want to just talk about the first 8 matches, some of my predictions, what I feel some of the key points are, along with a little bit of history between the two players. So let's go ahead and get started. So Armada and ESAM, this is arguably probably the one seed versus the 16 seed in the bracket. So usually the first seed's on the very top of the bracket, and so based off of that information, ESAM's the 16th seed and Armada's the first seed overall. This will be probably a lopsided match. Armada and ESAM did play once this year at Genesis 3, and Armada was a beast. He somehow was able to just do shenanigans with projectiles. Overall, really strong against Samus. He got actually a lot of duck practice in Michigan not too long ago. He has dropped a game before to Hugs in the past and dropped a game against Duck, but overall he has a really strong sense of how to play the matchup. And usually in floaty versus floaty, unless Armada is playing against a Jigglypuff, he tends to do really strong. And the key points, Armada just has to play his game. It's just that simple. ESAM he's just going to have to be really good about picking his spots, getting 1 to 2 hits whenever he can, and not really get into trade situations. Now, projectiles are going to be kind of not that useful. Armada is really used to dealing with Samus projectiles overall. And so he's just going to have to outspace, try to bait as much as he possibly can. Get some good nairs in, and just play the game as fundamental as possible. That's really the big thing that he can do. It's going to be really hard, and the way I see it, Armada's probably going to win 3-0. I imagine most of the games will be in between a 2 to 3 stock, and maybe on one of ESAM's power counter picks, he may be able to take Armada to 1 stock. Now the interesting question here is Armada going to play Fox, or is he going to play Peach? And based on the fact that he may want to warm up Peach, but although on the stream yesterday he did say that he wants to play Peach against everybody, so I expected Peach versus Samus matchup here. So that's unfortunate, but that's the way it goes for Axe. Axe versus Shroomed is a very interesting one here. If we look at recent stats, Shroomed has gone the better end of... This overlay went a little bit lower, so let me go ahead and readjust it. But Axe versus Shroomed goes typically back and forth, with Shroomed, getting the better end of him last time. The last 2 times they played were at Smash Summit and at Big House 5, and Shroomed was able to, defeat Axe in both cases, giving Axe one of his lowest placings at Big House 5. Now, for here, Axe has, defeated Mutaking at PAX, and he was showing, moments of brilliance in the beginning of the year with Genesis 3 and PAX. However, he's gone kind of cold lately. A lot of people are slowly beginning to figure out Axe, and as we get into this progressive era, people are going to make a strong effort to learn little things about Pikachu, and this is something we saw with Lucky last weekend, who was able to take 2 sets off of Axe. In a Midwest tournament. He lost to Gravy recently. He lost to Chudat. So overall, this has got to be a tournament and an event where Axe has to prove himself once again. Hopefully, he can turn things around. So the key things, he can't don't be too antsy with the Nair. Nair and approaches in general is one of my key points. And the one thing that really impressed me about Axe at PAX was all his decision making was really smart. He paused, and baited correctly, and a lot of his neutral game was very thoughtful. And usually when he falls behind or the match gets close, Axe tends to panic a lot, and he defaults to autopiloting his neutral, where he just does run across nair, up tilt, up air, run around nair. And a lot more people are understanding how to deal with that kind of pressure. They're crouch canceling more, and they're abusing Pikachu in certain spots. So he can't really get complacent because a lot of people are punishing him harder. And granted, he's getting a lot better at defensive options, such as, SDIing out of Fox's up air. The neutral game hasn't been really good for him. For Shroomed, this is also, I think, a really important match for him as well. Shroomed hasn't really had a great 2016. Genesis 3 hasn't really gone well. I don't think he placed in the top 8 at PAX, so this hasn't really been a good year for him. Battle of the Five Gods, he didn't make it out of pools, and this is a guy that we thought was going to be top 10 at the end of the year. So he's got a lot to prove, and he has even admitted to everybody that this hasn't been a good year for him. So both these players are really vying to see, to prove themselves that they are still, top 10 level players, even if their performances have been a little bit inconsistent in the past 2 months. So for Shroomed, of course, just stay grounded. Don't be too fancy, and just be chic is what I would say. So that's my thoughts. If I were to have to pick a winner here, I would say Shroom wins in a very close best of 5 match. I think Axe is going to come in very prepared. He has a lot of partners that he can practice with up until the actual match. He can play against Plop, he can play against Mewtwo King, and I'm pretty sure both of them are more than willing to give him ample practice for this match. So in this 8 seed versus 9 seed match, it's going to be really close, but I think Shroom's going to take it. Plop versus Pew Pew. This is a very interesting one. So Plop finally won his first tournament set against Pew Pew at Pound. Unfortunately, this match wasn't recorded, but Plop, I think, did cleanly beat him. I don't think Pew Pew took a game. And so looking a lot better since when we saw them play that exhibition match at Smash Summit. Granted, that was just an exhibition match. It was an actual gameplay. For Plop, he's been looking rather solid against Marth. He, defeated PPMD last time at Smash Summit. I don't know if Mewtwo King's ever gone Marth against him. It doesn't seem to make sense. He defeated Pew Pew last time. Has been the Moon before, so he has an overall solid match against Pew Pew. So for Plop, I think the main thing he needs to do is just stay motivated. I know that he's gone burnt out, so he's just gonna have to do the out of tournament prep so that he makes sure that he's in the right mind or the right frame of mind before the singles bracket begins. Fortunately for him, the environment at Smash Summit is very low energy, very relaxing, and since it's the first set that he has to play, he's probably going to be at full energy and full strength, whereas later in the bracket, if he gets wobbled or something happens to him, he gets a little frustrated and it puts him on tilt. I don't really see that for this set. So and for Pew Pew, he's just gonna he's gonna have to play a lot against Shroom. A lot of things worry about me. I think Pew Pew plays a little bit too aerial heavy. I think he gambles a little bit too much, and that ends up costing him. And when the reads work, he looks really solid, he looks godlike. The combos look amazing, but when those reads aren't really, hitting, then his opponents get out and they get good position on him. And given how good Plop's fundamentals are, you can't be missing things. I think you have to go for the more, boring dash dancing, baiting, down tilt, retreating fair game, and that's something that PPU doesn't really do too much. He tends to play most matchups like Fox, for better or worse. But when you play against a character like Sheik that can punish you off of small mistakes, and if you misread, I just don't really see that as a really good game plan. Ladandis has, given PPU a lot of trouble in NorCal. So if I were to say, I think Plop wins this 3-1. PPU gets 2 chances at a strong counter pick, but I don't see him winning a best of 5 in Morn Sheik. People say that PPU has, a really strong Fox, and yes, he does. But Plop is also incredible against against Fox as Sheik, and even if PPU manages a win, he can easily switch back to Samus, and I'm not sure if PPU has the experience to really overcome that matchup, as I don't think he has enough experience in that. So in the next match we have, let's see, Mew2King and Ice. And in this matchup, they have actually never played in a tournament set. So this is going to be really interesting. What I foresee is it's going to be a classic... I foresee a counterpick war happening here where I think they're going to start Marth versus Fox. But based on matchups, we might see Sheik Marth, where Ice will play Sheik and Mew2King will play Marth. And we may see... and we might see a little bit of Sheik Dittos. We might see Marth Fox. Ultimately, it depends on who counterpicks who. Now for Ice, the big thing for him is that I still don't think he is strong enough against Marth to win in the Fox Marth matchup. Didn't really do too well against PPMD or PUPU at the Battle of the Five Gods. But that PPU set could be seen with an asterisk because both of them already were statistically eliminated from moving on to the next round. So maybe he was experimenting. But from what I've seen, I'm not totally convinced that he has a really strong Marth game. And typically this is like, for Mew2King, I kind of view the game plan and like the results of it kind of like how you'd play Ice Climbers. Basically, if Ice gets grabbed, he's going to lose. But if Ice can play clean neutral and play really solid with his crisp movement, then I think and he doesn't get grabbed, then I think he could take a game or two. But ultimately, I don't think he has enough experience to overcome Mew2King on FD, which is a really strong counter pick. I don't think he can win on a bunch of other stages. So I could see Ice taking a game or two, maybe on Dreamland on a strong counterpick against Mew2King, where Mew2King's forced to go Sheik. But I don't think he has enough experience to overcome this matchup. For Mew2King, he just got to remain poised. And like I mentioned for Plop, the Summit is a really great environment for Mew2King. He doesn't have to cater to fans. He could kind of just be himself. He can practice, and he's in his comfort zone. And so I think his level of play will be about 90 to 95% of what I think is Mew2King's, peak skill. So Ice has to do a lot to really, overcome this matchup. Maybe he does. Maybe, he's going to be stunning over the next week or the next couple days. But I see Mew2King winning this 3-1. So Hungrybox versus S2J. This is a interesting thing because I didn't think S2J was really going to be. If this is how the brackets are, that means S2J got seeded 15th, which seems a little bit low, in my opinion. I thought he was going to be 13th or 14th, but I have to look at the full list. I'm surprised that Duck, got seeded over him, considering that S2J did get top 8 at Pound, and he's been doing really well. And I think the results are comparable, but luck of the draw, he gets Hungrybox. Probably one of the worst case scenarios for anyone that's not Mango or Armada. I don't really see anybody really standing a chance against Hungrybox in a best of 5. The last time Hungrybox has lost a best of 5 against a non-god was, I think, Press Start, where Lucky beat him in losers, or in winners, sorry. And there could have been some Plop and Kobold shenanigans at a local, but Hungrybox hasn't lost to a best of 5 to a non-Big 6 member in a really long time, is the point I'm getting at. Now, when I watched them at Pound 2016, they had an interaction where they played in pools. Hungrybox did get the better end of him, and given that Hungrybox gets to play Falcons that are frankly better at the matchup in Gatsu and Wizzy, and maybe even Gravy, Hungrybox has a lot of experience in this, and this isn't the type of matchup where SCJ can just get a grab, tech chase, potentially stomp knee like he could do against like a Fox or a Falcon or a Sheik. So he doesn't really have the added potential like hidden benefit of a Johnny stock here, which is unfortunate. So maybe, tonight he starts messaging the 20GX guys, he starts theory crafting, maybe he practices with somebody, maybe he practices with Prince Abu, who's also going to be there. But this is going to be a really difficult match for SJ to overcome. I think he could take a match. He's done it in the past. They played at a Mayhem when Hungrybox came to SoCal, and I believe SJ took a match in 2014. But they played once last year at, I forget which tournament, Paragon LA. Hungrybox took it clean. And so this is one of the sets where I'm pretty confident that this will probably be a 3-0, which is unfortunate for SUJ, who's been, trying to go for a sponsor, who's actually been doing really well for himself. So he's going to have to make a run in losers there. If we look at the next set, I think this is the 10-7 matchup, the 7 seed versus the 10 seed. So Wobbles and SFAT, they've had an ongoing so anyway, I was just kind of gathering my thoughts. So SFAT and Wobbles, very interesting set. For Wobbles and SFAT, this is something that I think is going to go to Game 5. Wobbles, has done really well for himself. Fourth at Battle of the Five Gods. Took out a lot of names there. And last time they played, I believe, was when SFAT went to Forte 3. And it was a really close 5-game set that Wobbles ended up clinching. And so Wobbles has been very polarizing in his performances. Whenever he's in Texas, he does extraordinarily well. Battle of Five Gods was in Texas. When he beat Westballz, Lucky, and SFAT at these tournaments, those were all in Texas. But when he was at Genesis 3, he lost to Milkman, lost to DG Nintendo. Milkman and DG Nintendo, granted, are very strong, at the Ice Climbers matchup, but he has yet to perform outside of Texas in the past year. So the big question for him is, can he do it in another state, in another region? And the question for SFAT is, can he finally clutch a set against Ice Climbers? Because historically speaking, even if you look back at Big House 2, he starts off really strong, and then as the set goes on, he starts playing a little bit more defensive, and he doesn't start to play his game. And as more people get like a chain grab or they get a wobble on SFAT, he tends to slow the pace down, and it plays more into the Ice Climbers' favor, because the Ice Climbers are fine, if you're not overrunning them. And as we saw from Pound 2016, the Foxes like Hacks and Mango, the ones that can go in, they can shine, they can create pressure, are the ones that give people like Nintendo or Wobbles the most trouble. Whereas, if you try to camp him, they play at a very comfortable pace, and eventually they will find an opening, and they will read your movement, and they will get a grab. Because, when you're lasering, you're only adding in 2% at a time. And, you're going to have to get like 40 to 50 lasers without getting grabbed, or taking a heavy positional loss before you end up just getting grabbed somehow. So hopefully, SFAT starts off his momentum fast. He gets an early lead, and he keeps telling himself, despite the fact that he may get grabbed once or twice, that he continues to add on the pressure, and I think he can do it. I won't say that he's the favorite here. I think Wobbles is a little bit of a favorite. As long as he remains composed, he has a prone tendency to also tilt and to also give up sets. So as long as he can be competitive and close and not get discouraged by like a shine spike or just by a Fox running over him, I think he's going to take this. I say it's going to be a 3-2 set. The next set we have is Mango Duck. And historically speaking, Mango, I'm not sure if Duck has even taken a game against Mango. Maybe he has at some Midwest tournament. The last time they played was at Shape 5 in 2014, so that was about a year and a half ago. Duck has improved a lot, and Mango has improved a lot. Now, Mango has not dropped the set against Samus in a really long time. I can't even recall the last time. Maybe it was EVO 2007. Maybe it was a UCLA tournament where Hugs played Cawmaster. But that was even when Mango was still playing Puff. So needless to say, it's been a really long time since Mango has lost to Samus. He grew up on playing Hugo, early on, and he was beating Hugo even when Hugo was a top 8 player. And so for Duck, he's just going to have to weather the storm. He's going to have to pick his spots well, and ultimately just hope that Mango does not just overrun him. I think that Duck's strong defensive play can really provide, take a game. He has the Fountain pick. He has the Fountain of Dreams pick, and I noticed that that's going to be Duck's first counter pick no matter what. And so maybe he can take a game there, hide underneath the platforms, down smash on Mango's bad approaches, wave dash back, down smash, and hopefully, start some stuff there. But I don't really see Duck winning on any stage other than Fountain of Dreams. And even though, like we've said before, that Mango is incredibly strong on Fountain, that's also Duck's favorite stage, and it's the platform layouts are also favorable to Samus. But so it's going to be a tough run for the Michigan hero. But I predict that this will probably be a 3-1 in favor of Mango. What is the last one? Let's see. Can't see the last set. Okay, Westballz, SamWolf. So Westballz, SamWolf, this is going to be really exciting. I don't really remember if Westballz and SamWolf have played in a set. I know that Westballz has gone to Washington a few times, but unfortunately at Emerald City too, what happened was Westballz was on one side of the bracket and SUJ and SamWolf were on the other side of the bracket. So as a result, SUJ cleanly beat SamWolf in both winners and losers, and Westballz defeated SUJ. So SamWolf didn't have the opportunity to play Westballz in a set. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very high paced, very dynamic. Both of these players are very strong technical players. Despite the fact that, SamWolf did beat PPMD at Battle of the Five Gods, historically he hasn't been that strong at this matchup against Falco. So it's gonna be interesting. Westballz, as everybody already knows, is incredibly strong against Fox. Has taken 5 sets against Mango in the past year and a half. Has beaten Leffen, has beaten Ice. I don't know if he's played Armada's Fox extensively, but overall Westballz is incredibly strong against Fox. So for Westballz, just needs to execute his A game. He can occasionally get sloppy with his aerials, where he kind of approaches blindly and he get punished. A guy like Leffen has exploited that in the past, where Westballz would do a bad aerial, Leffen would grab him and then essentially kill him off the grab. So SamWolf needs to just be able to capitalize off these moments. And for Westballz, when he's on his zone, it's when he controls the tempo. He goes in, and he pulls back out, baits attacks, throws out the up tilts, throws out the back airs, trades with Shine, and he capitalizes off these little trades. He plays the matchup like a floaty, in that he looks for these really strategic trades where he takes a hit, but he's doing 70 or possibly even death back to his opponent. So for SamWolf, Westballz will still give opportunities nonetheless. He can get sloppy from time to time. And so for SamWolf, it's for him, can he execute and can he punish to the full extent that we see the other Foxes do when Westballz makes mistakes. And it's going to be a very interesting match, but I think Westballz is the favorite here. I would say that he's probably going to win 3-1, but we don't ever really know what type of Westballz we do get. Westballz has lost to Red in the past year. He's lost to KJH. Foxes that are strong, but debatably not in SamWolf's level. So it is in play that SamWolf could take this as well. So that's my round 1 analysis of the match. Sorry about that. Of the matches here. And we're going to do round 2 in a little bit.